What is up, good people? What is up, good people? We are back into the building, back in here for another one. Shout out to everybody. Do appreciate everybody that comes on in. My last show yesterday got taken down. I showed too much when it came to the Wakanda Forever. I put too much put too much content up that shouldn't have been up. But so that one got taken down. So we'll soldier on. That one will be available on Patreon sometime after the show today. I'll make sure I get it fully uploaded on Patreon. But thank you to everybody in the building. Shout out to people. I see y'all coming on in. I see y'all coming on in. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. You say you finally caught the start of the show. Okay, well, you about to see the intro probably for the first time. But either way it go, shout out to everybody. Do appreciate each and every one of y'all. We're gonna be what we talking about today. Oh yeah, interesting video. Piers Morgan essentially had a woman on that said some crazy stuff. That's just the long and short sum of it. Going to be talking about a few things. We'll be touching on Donald Trump announcing his candidacy for president of the United States. Where's it at? Make America Great Again. I know I'm not the first one that ever thought of that. He needs to add that in there. Don't just go with Make America Great Again. He got to go with Make America Great Again. So we'll be talking about that. I'll probably do a little bit of Wakanda Forever recap. And but with that being said, I think that's all the pre-ramble. I'm trying to find my intro so we can get ready to go. Let's get ready to go. Let's get it.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
What is up? What's going on, good people? Welcome aboard. Welcome back. Shout out to the early bird squad, those that make it in bright and early before we get things started. Deanie in the building, the leftist Marxist communist that he is. Not just playing. I'm just playing with you. The wealth redistributor in the building. I'm just playing with you. But no, shout out to Deanie. And he says, whoa, I just noticed that you're about to hit 20K. Yes. I am rolling, driving pretty fast up to 20K. Driving pretty fast. It's not even a slow crawl like I thought it would be. But yeah, I got a few shorts that are deep in the algorithm. Those shorts work if you make them right. And yeah, they're deep up in that algorithm. They are, they doing a damn thing, picking up a lot of subs. So that reminds me, after I get off the show, I got to quit boiling and get back on that and make some more shorts, make some more short format content, because those do actually grow the channel. The live stream show is basically the core people that really rock with you, which I will always do shows for y'all. I will always produce this content. I always try to bring on interesting guests and everything. But yeah, I am learning channel growth. You got to make shorter format content for the masses. The masses, they don't always want to come in here every day and listen to some long 2-3 hour live streams. They want to see some short, quick, prepackaged microwave shit. So you got to get your microwave game up. It's good to be able to slow cook a nice. Okay, now I'm about to sound like a damn one. Good, making some real feminine analogies here. So, but so bear with me. It's good to be able to slow cook a nice casserole or something. They can slow cook it in the oven. But sometimes you got to know how to, got to be ready to pop some shit in the microwave and get it done in 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds, or whatever. Anyway, shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to Deanie. Shout out to Little Rock. Shout out to RM. Yeah, check your email and let me know if you got it and understood understood what's being even asked there. The Latte God said, finally caught start of the Grown Man Hour. Absolutely glad you're here. JC the Conqueror in the building says, salute. Says, I was just listening to your old stream with AM on the classic panel. I did a few with AM. I don't know which one you're talking about, but it was definitely some classics. I'm gonna get all my one-on-ones that I've had over the years. I guess it's getting to that point. I'm almost on my 3-year mark. I'm gonna get them all and put them all on one playlist, all my one-on-ones. So they'll just be easy to go through and look at and just go through the archives and look at all my interviews and everything. I will be doing that soon when I get around to it. But Pete Rock in the building and Priest O'Neal with the first super chat. Do appreciate you coming on through. He says, shout out BR. Thanks for the consistency. That's one thing I actually think I struggle with. I want to be even more consistent. When I heard Pearly Thing say that her channel puts out 18 videos a day, of course you got to have a whole team to do that. You got to do a live show. You got to have people breaking up all, making shorts and pre-records out of that. You got to have Lapeef Network, multiple streams going, like multiple shows on top of shows, and then people breaking up all of that. It's work. It's work. And a one-man show, really, even though I got people that do help me a little bit behind the scenes, but it's hard. It's hard to get that done. But I got enough time on my hands. When I really get on it, yeah, I should be able to put out at least 4 streams of content, live show, pre-record, maybe 2 shorts a day, something like that, if not more shorts a day. JC the Conqueror mentioned Angry Man, and he's getting on them shorts, and you can see his subs bumping up too. That's where it's at. I mean, we be killing it with the live shows in this space, but yeah, making that short format content, that's how you get out there into that algorithm. And then hopefully they come in and bring them in for the live show, but that's still in the air. The Perfect Storm in the building said it's called Save America. He's referring to Donald Trump running again. I tweaked Donald Trump's campaign slogan to not Make America Great Again, because he's going back with Make America Great Again. He announced that he's running in 2024, and he's going with Make America Great Again. And I'm thinking he's missing an opportunity for some good sarcastic, witty humor in his slogan. And he should call it, let me move that out the way. He should call it Make America Great Again. That's what he should call it. He's missing an opportunity there. That RM, I don't know. I don't know how to do it from your end. Try just joining the stream. We should have talked about this beforehand, but just try to join the stream, and then you'll just be in the back. And you'll be in the back and have some. So just try that. Well, if it don't work today, it's fine. If it don't work today, it's fine. But just try. If it don't work, no big deal. We'll talk later. But all right. Shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to everybody in the building. I see Hood Conservative down there. See Prophet of Thought series is in the building. And you are right, JC the Conqueror. Next year's election talk will be good. will be funny. I didn't want to start off talking about Donald Trump, but all right, we already here. I do want the Republican Party to shake things up. I do want them to put out a good candidate. I don't know if Donald Trump is the answer, Sway. I think the Republican Party, they need a diet Donald Trump. They need somebody who's, who's balls out like Donald Trump, but smarter. Balls out but calculated. Donald Trump when Donald Trump get on one, I'm not, of course, look, Adini, of course Donald Trump ain't that guy to you. We know that. We know that. Yeah. But I do want him to I want them to put out somebody interesting. I don't want a boring stiff ass Republican running. I don't want Mitt Romney. I could do without that. Oh, give me a second, yeah. You said a gangster nerd. No. No, I'm just not big on that one. I'm just not. I was never a big fan of Trump. Like right around the point, sometime between Trump beating Hillary and sometime between Trump in the 2020 election. Let's just say maybe 2018. That was around the time when it was officially a wrap, and I knew I'm not voting Democrat, and so I was contemplating the voting somewhere in the middle, Green Party or something like that. Then I was like, that ain't even really a vote, So I was like, yeah, I'm a vote Republican. I'm a vote Republican. I did so, and my views lean more conservative. I had to accept that over time. So I was like, okay, so here it is. I'm voting this way. And now that I'm finally voting this way, I'm finally not voting Democrat. I'm voting Republican. And the person who was driving the bus was somebody who I wasn't a big fan of it. I just don't like it, and it's almost petty. It's almost petty. I don't like the way he talk. Not that this isn't a I don't like your tone thing. It was I don't know. I I like when my president is speaking, I like to feel like this man is far and away smarter than me. And then when I listen to Donald Trump talk, and he's like, "No, see, that's not going to work. It don't. That's wrong. It's bad. Nope, not good. Bad. It's like it's just something. So I have my. Is this the right? Yeah, I think that's the same coffee I started this morning. Hopefully, it ain't the one from yesterday. But yeah. So I have my things about Trump that I don't like. But if he's the man behind the wheel of the car, then goddamn it, he's getting a vote. If he's driving the vehicle, he's getting the vote. It is what it is. If he wins, he's getting the vote. It's just a slight possibility because I can't find the cup. I think this is my cup from this morning. Oh, it got a date on it. Hold on. I need to not be messing with McDonald's. Yep, this is from today. So I'm good. This is from today, so I'm good. But that has happened before. Y'all have seen that happen on. Okay, so right now, and I'm about to find out how messy I am. Here's a cup from where I don't know. This is cup from Big B Coffee. It's all the way at the far end of my desk. So out of sight, out of mind. Out of sight, out of mind, out of reach. But if I messed up and I put this cup right there, and I put my current cup right there, and if they were from the same place and I went and walked around and did some things and came back, and it's not uncommon, I would pick up the wrong cup And if they from the same place, I'll look. And if they got roughly the same amount in it, and if they've been both sitting for a while to where both of them are, room temperature now, it's a slight possibility I may drink some old coffee. Y'all have seen me make that mistake on the air, but then that lets me know, okay, it's time to clean up. Time to clean up if I got old coffee cups. And I don't think you did it right. I don't think you did it right, RM, because I shouldn't see you. It should say administrator down there. And you should have control. Well, maybe they changed it. Try to start a comment. Because luck you just came in just as well. I don't know. Try to start a comment or push something in the back. Make something move, pop up, do something. Just start clicking some stuff in the back, and that'll let you know if you oh shit, you started a comment. Okay, you're in. Did you start that one right here? Yeah, okay, you're in. You're in. All right. So yeah. So I'll give you a debriefing later on what I'll need from you. But right now, if it ends up being a lot of people in here and super chats start coming in now, the job is just star the super chats and make sure I don't miss any of them. And then I'll give you a debriefing later on what else I'll need. All right, cool. All right, cool, perfect. So with that done, and I'm about to get into all right, let me get into some number of things. All right. Yesterday's show got taken off the air. Oh, real quick, the last thing I was gonna say about Trump. We'll do this some more, and I'll probably get hood conservative on this one. I think the part of the reason the red wave didn't happen is, like I said, I think there's a portion of the country who is not feeling all the MAGA stuff. And there's also a portion of the country that's not feeling all the wokeism, leftist, purple hair, weird, it's a portion that ain't feeling that they in the middle. Not talking about the people that we know going to vote go right. Not talking about the people that we know going to go left. It's the people in the middle. They got to choose either wokeness or MAGA-ness. The Make America Great Again is either I'm gonna be with the Make America Great Again hat people, or I'm gonna be with the wokest with the wokeness and the leftists. I think the red wave didn't happen partially because some people they decided they don't want to stand next to the Trump-lookins. They didn't want to stand next to that. And they saw that those abortion laws switching up. So they going the other way. So I don't know if an extremist or somebody who's viewed as an extremist is going to get the job done. I don't know. I don't know if they'll win. I think the way people turned out for Bynum, not Bynum, the way people turned out for Biden is an indicator that a lot of people not feeling Trump. So if I'm being pragmatic and thinking, okay, I don't want the Democrats to win, is Trump the person that's going to beat him? Is Trump running again against the person that beat him? Is that what's going to do it? I don't know. Now he can make a good argument. Trump can make a good argument looking at everything that's went wrong with Biden. He definitely can make a good argument. However, I'm not so sure. I'm not so convinced that I'm not so convinced that Trump is going to that Trump can get the victory. I'm not so convinced. If anything, all he's going to do, I think he'll get the nomination. If he don't get the nomination, all he's going to do is put a lot of mud and blood on the people that do go up against Biden. So it's like you can't splash mud on Trump because he lives in the mud. He don't care. So all you're gonna do is splash a lot of mud on the other person that may get the nomination. So I don't know. I don't know from a pragmatic standpoint. I don't know if it'll be good. I don't know if it'll be work. But I would like to be convinced wrong on that. That's why I said I got to get hood conservative on this one. I am interested to see where he goes with that. But Wakanda forever. It happened. My stream got taken down. I'll give a quick recap. Spoilers. And like right now, now I got to talk to you about that behind the scenes. But all these scenes, okay. Yeah, feel free to click on stuff over here. Feel free to click on that stuff. RM. Stuff like that. Hit the like button, hit the like button on the way in. If I'm doing a video, click on the fair use thing. Feel free to click on all of that stuff. You can play around with it, be creative, and you can even figure out how to make your own banners down there. We'll talk more off the off the air on give you the briefing on how to do it, but feel free to play around with all that. But anyway, Wakanda forever. Yeah, there you go. See, you're learning. Okay, Wakanda forever. Yes. It was a bald head. Let's be friends. Scene. It was Kuma said the movie is awesome. Yeah, tripping. I think the only way that you could actually be of the view that when I watched it the second time, I watched it twice. When I watched it the second time, just watching it just to sit back and not be critical, it even then it just didn't feel that good. I actually enjoyed it. Oh, look at that! That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Let me put that back. Okay, but when I watched it again the first time, when I watched it the first time, I was halfway enjoying it, sort of taking some little notes and stuff I wanted to talk about. But then when I watched it the second time, that's when I just sat back and just put my feet up in and tried to enjoy it. And it was kind of long, drawn out, and wasn't all that good. So I can't go with you on that if you're just saying the movie was just outright standalone awesome, even though it was some good parts. But the fact of the matter is, with this movie, aside from all the nonsense that we talked about, how they should have recast T'Challa, how they did a lot of things that just did not boat well with me. But at the end of the day, we talk about messaging. We talk about how as Dave Chappelle said, you never should say these two words together, the and Jews, but how the Jewish people, how they control a major portion of the media. Everything in red that was owned and controlled by those that we don't speak of. Everything in red is owned and controlled by those that we don't speak of. And so we understand the concept of messaging when we say things like that. We understand the concept of messaging when we talk about how, when somebody's talking about how Fox News may depict a story, of a black man that got shot. So we can't pretend to not understand messaging when we're talking about a a movie about a black African kingdom, the most powerful nation on earth, a goddamn ethno state of blackness. We can't talk about that and then not also look at the messaging, and we see how the black community look, where it is matriarchal and women are raising kids by themselves, black men and black women separate. We got a matriarchal, gynocratic looking community, and we see the destruction and dysfunction that happens with it. And then a movie about the richest, most powerful nation on earth, an African nation, an African kingdom that's very matriarchal, with a queen, with all the major movers and shakers are women. You see, families, the soldiers are women, the guards are women. Everybody that does anything that mattered in the movie was a woman. It just looked very matriarchal and gynocratic from head to toe. And but it worked. It wasn't dysfunctional. So when we talk about messaging, the message there is that women, a woman-led country, culture, community, and all of that, it works. Like that, like we can't ignore messaging in that. Now, if you watched the movie and you saw some, oh shit, my bad. So if you watched the movie and you saw some good backflips and kicks in Wakanda magic, and cartwheels and all kind of stuff, and you enjoyed it, and And so yeah, if you found something to enjoy there, then that's fine. That's fine. But don't pretend like you like we tripping when we're talking about the messaging there. Don't pretend like we tripping when we talk about the messaging of literally killing T'Challa. You know, Iron Man over time earned that death. Captain America earned that, not death, but just getting old, even though they could put him back through the little time chamber and make him young again. But he earned that over time. Black Panther had one movie in what amounts to some cameos in a few other movies. T'Challa. And I want to make it clear because some people pretend to not understand this. Chadwick Boseman died. Chadwick Boseman died. They killed T'Challa. That's a big difference. Chadwick Boseman died. They killed off T'Challa. So until they finish this whole phase 4, where they just finished phase 4, they're going to get into a phase 5. I don't know if it's going to be a phase 6, 7, 8, 9, but whenever that's all done in 20 to 30 years, that's the only time we will see T'Challa. Like, basically, T'Challa is gone. We will not see him in another movie until Marvel. Damn it. I'm sorry. I apologize, everyone. We will not see him in another movie until Marvel decides. Until Marvel makes a wholesale decision to scrap everything that they've done with the MCU and start over from scratch with a full reboot. With a full reboot. That is when we will actually see another T'Challa. He's done. He's gone. Like that just is what it is. Like it's no way around that. There's no way around that. But Christian Hutchinson in the building says, hang out with Bernard Riley and a few Black Manosphere bros at Barcade Detroit for games, drinks, November 21st, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. No cover charges, fees. More info in the link that he's provided right there. Make sure you click on that link if you're interested and you're in the Detroit area. We will be there. We will be hanging out. So come on through. If you're in that area. We got Freedmen's Journal in the building, says Republicans undercut the pro-MAGA candidates. What do you mean by that? You said Republicans undercut the pro-MAGA candidates. I think they got something going on there, sort of like how Tea Party candidates was undercutting Republicans. Is that what you're saying? If you're saying that, I understand what you're coming from. Deanie, I do understand what you're saying. Look at my African Americans. The blacks love me. I feel you on Trump, man. I do. I mean, I don't, because you be tripping, but it's some stuff about Trump that's just weird. I mean, come on. I mean, Biden said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. So either way it go, we got weird old white men saying weird shit either way. But something about Trump, I just want the Republicans to put a better candidate out there. Even though Trump, if Trump get it done, he get it done. I personally, I would like to be proven wrong. I don't think he'll get it done. I don't think he'll get it done this time around. But shout out to Deanie, shout out to Freedmen's Journal, and shout out to Treese O'Neill, says thanks for the consistency. Thanks for the consistency. And absolutely, I see that right there. If you're in the Detroit area, I got to post it on my community tab. I'd actually got to post that on my community tab. And so, yeah, do a better job of promoting things. I'm kind of sucking right now. But all right. So let's go ahead and dive into the main topic whenever I find it and pull it up. Let's dive into the main topic. Yeah, see that in the thumbnail. Yeah, see that in the thumbnail. Yeah, saw what amounted to I would say probably the worst kind of woman. The absolute worst that you're going to hear in this clip from Piers Morgan. I've been calling him Piers Morgan. Been saying it wrong, but in this clip that you're about to see here, that I'm attempting to pull up. All right, I think we got her. Oh, no, we don't. Oh, no, we don't. Now we got it. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Strap on in. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the like button. We about to get right into this. Let me put my headsets on. Let me put my headsets on. Let's get ready to go. Let's get it. And I probably need to skip some of this.
Disgraced movie director Harvey Weinstein's abuse of women sparked a global reckoning with.
Oh wait, hold on. Let me get something out the way real quick. Right there, they're saying. Right there, they're saying. Actually, move that fair use thing real fast. Move that real fast. Okay, thank you, Johnny on the spot. I like that. Okay. It says Me Too 5 years on. It's worth pointing out. It's worth pointing out when they say Me Too 5 years on. They're talking about from the time that that's from the time that white women hijacked it. that's what they're talking about there. The Me Too move, the Me Too, the whole concept of that, it goes back, I think, 2006. Well, based off my research, 2006. That's when Tarana Burke actually started it, and you could probably find like a splash of bullshit in it back then, but I think I think it started in a genuine place where it was talking about girls who were genuinely sexually assaulted by adults when they were young girls. They weren't talking about somebody who sucked somebody who performed oral sex on a casting director to get a job, and then apparently the girl who came in next sucked it better and she got the job. We not that's what it turned into. That's what it turned into. But it wasn't initially that. So I will give Tarana Burke, even though she looked like KRS-One, I will give her props. I mean, her due that she started it in 2006, and it was coming from, I think, a decent place with maybe a splash of some bull in there. Then once it went mainstream, it turned into some. It turned into people start rubbing their hands together like that. How figuring out how they about to snatch some power away. That's what it turned into. So if it came from a genuine place of just her wanting to, raise awareness to protect little girls who get touched on by their uncle, understandable. Understandable. When it turned into, wait a minute, Bill Cosby, me and Bill Cosby had sex back in 1971. I think I was high when it happened. When it turned into that, that's when it turned into some bull. That's when it turned into some bull. But anyway, so when he said Me Too 5 years on, he's talking about when it went mainstream and white women took it over versus when, 2006 when it first started. All right, well, let's go.
Predatory male behavior. But 5 years on from what became known as the Me Too movement, there's a growing backlash. Some influential people argue it's become divisive, pitting homosexuals against each other with an assumption of male guilt, leaving many young men feeling marginalized. Recently, you've two people at the forefront of that backlash, albeit with very different styles and rationales. He's psychologist Dr. Jordan Peterson.
People have been after me for a long time because I've been speaking to disaffected young men. What a terrible thing to do that is.
And earlier this week, I spoke to Andrew Tate.
He's slow walking into this. He's kind of like just name dropping his last big interviews, because Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson, don't really got a whole lot to do with this. They kind of do, but he's just basically saying, okay, I'm doing some more content. But remember my old hits. Remember my hits from a few weeks ago that was real good. Remember my hit from last month that was real good. Y'all remember, right? That's all he's doing right now. I should have skipped it.
The so-called toxic male influencer who's now banned from social media. The full explosive interview airs tomorrow night, but here's a little taster of that.
I believe that confident, strong men who stand up and protect and provide for women are a good thing for the world and a good force for the world. And I don't think that I put a magic spell on anybody. I think there's a whole bunch of men in the world who understands my value. And if men grow up to be like me, you're going to have a whole bunch of people with no criminal record, dedicated athletes who protect and provide for the people close to them, are fantastic for the economy. And I'm certainly not the worst influence.
So you think he has a chance against Jake Paul? Is that like a real thing? They talking about Andrew Tate and Jake Paul fighting? Because my overall level of interest in a Jake Paul fight is like 0 right now. I mean, I don't know how he still. I understand the novelty of it at first, and understand the money grab with Floyd Mayweather thing, but at this point, I don't know how anybody's still watching him fight washed up, retired non-boxers in a boxing ring. It's like yeah, the whole novelty of that is just done. I have, and it looked like what's the name? Took a dive in the middle of that fight. It looked like he just fell down from a punch that didn't land. It's a circus. It's a circus. I'm not. So no, I have no analysis of who would win that fight, who win what, why, where. Zero.
Out here, Piers.
Well, clips of both of those interviews have exploded online. Literally millions of people have been viewing them. Jordan Peterson, for example, the whole interview has been viewed 5.5 million times on our YouTube channels, rightly or wrongly. There's clearly a huge groundswell of interest, at the very least, in their views, if not support. So was Me Too an overdue reckoning, or has it become a damaging battle in a raging culture war? Isabel still with me, plus political journalist Ava Santino, conservative commentator, a young man who agrees with Peterson and Andrew Tate, Connor Thomason. Connor, welcome to the show. I'll start with you.
That was funny. Hold on. Look at his face. He said agrees with Andrew Tate.
Journalist Ava Santino, conservative commentator, a young man who agrees with Peterson and Andrew Tate, Connor Thomason. Connor, welcome to the show. I'll start with you. I found it very interesting.
He was like, hold on now, hold on.
Tate. Both very controversial characters in different ways. Both positioned as a kind of kings of toxic masculinity. I certainly didn't think Jordan Peterson was that. And when it came to Andrew Tate, I couldn't really conclude after 90 minutes of grilling him. I gave him quite a hard time. I couldn't really conclude what he had done that was so bad that he had to be expunged from social media life altogether. But it showed me the sensitivity around all this. And if any man now behaves in a way that looks like it's toxic masculinity, bang, they're expunged. Is in that process masculinity itself getting expunged and demonized?
I would say so. I mean, I'm sure that you'll have this experience with your own relationships, Piers, in that women, if you say something controversial, whether it's something on the Peterson side of the spectrum or on the Tate side of the spectrum, a little bit more explosive or a little bit more academic, some women are very much drawn to a man who can be a bit more confrontational, say exactly what he thinks. It's the verbal new version of what gladiators used to do in the arena way back.
Well, certainly, I think Ava and Isabel are laughing because they know that they're drawn to me in that way because of my combative nature. But Ava, you're smirking and laughing. I mean, there's a serious point here. A lot of young men feel they're getting disenfranchised by society. They're all being over-demonized, that any attempt to be the traditional male figure is now being rubbished and called toxic.
Fair use.
Well, I mean, if you really felt that and you really went out there and you were an alpha male, then you wouldn't be bothered about a bunch of women telling you that you were.
Well, you would if you get
cancelled,
like Andrew Tate. If you get...
Now, one thing that I do on this channel, I tend to pick apart bullshit. I tend to pick apart bullshit. That's really a big part of what I do here. Now, the spin move in that to try to say if you're really an alpha male, you wouldn't really care what women are talking about or what women are doing, as if what they're doing does not have an effect and an influence on men as a whole. Yes, an alpha male in the full sense of the word, if he's an alpha male in the sense that he's a high earning, successful, achieving guy, and he can control the aspects of who's around him and who's not around him, then women, what women are doing overall, it means nothing. You could reach that status and that level as a man to where what women are doing overall can mean nothing. Or you don't even got to get all the way up there on that high horse. You can just be just a regular guy. I mean, if you are just a regular guy run a business and don't really got to interact with too many people, then you're just doing your own thing. You're just doing your own thing and everything is fine and everything is okay. But to the overall general masses, this is a problem. It's like her argument only can make sense is if every man is walking around chest beating, I'm an alpha male and I don't care what a woman. If that was the case, then there would be no problem. But there's a lot of regular guys that get me too'd or end up in situations or end up doing this or doing that. And so the mere fact that she would try to spin that argument shows just the overall disingenuous nature that she's coming with. Like this is the prime shining example of somebody arguing in bad faith. You're absolutely arguing in bad faith to where she knows that women are in many ways on many levels of society is pulling strings and levers of influence to the point of canceling men, to the point of men getting locked up for something they allegedly did 30 years ago, to the point of men having to, walk on eggshells in some cases in their dealings with women and their interactions with women, and particularly at the workplace, even though the majority, or I should say a very high percentage of relationships actually start at the workplace. Men got to walk on eggshells and make sure they don't lose their job. And so for her to just dismiss it as, well, if you're really alpha male, you don't care what people say, what little old women say. That's we have power and influence, and we got y'all pretty much in check. If it's a chess game, we got y'all in check. Y'all on the run, but then they're saying you shouldn't really care. You're a big old man, right? Meanwhile, she knows that they've done a full checkmate, to the point to where like I did the story on how Mark Cuban had to fire a lot of men in his organization, had to hire a bunch of female executives, and they got I think they got like 70% female executives. I forgot what the number was, working for the Dallas Mavericks, because it was some little small harassment case, like a lot. So there was a lot of men applying for jobs that didn't get those jobs, and a lot of women got those jobs. Argue whether they was qualified or not, but that's a whole nother story. But a lot of women got those jobs. Why? Because they got Me Too. That whole organization got Me Too'd into a checkmate. They got Me Too'd into a checkmate. So that's very disingenuous. Well, why should you care if you're some alpha? Well, you shouldn't be concerned.
There's a serious point here. A lot of young men feel they're getting disenfranchised by society. They're all being over-demonized, that any attempt to be the traditional male figure is now being rubbished and called toxic.
Well, I mean,
and notice he started with, there's a lot of young males. There's a lot of young males in society trying to figure things out. But any attempt to, to be men, they're getting called toxic. So she just skipped over that part and went right to alpha males at the top. Sort of shows the thing that we always say, that the only thing they see is the men at the top. They don't see the regular degular man.
I mean, if you really felt that and you really went out there and you were an alpha male, then you wouldn't be bothered about a bunch of women telling you that you were.
Well, you would if you
like
get cancelled, like Andrew Tate. If you get banned from.
I mean, he's
social
hardly
media
been cancelled. He was on your program, which is on national television.
But
so
it's the
that's
only
hardly a
platform actually he's had
cancellation.
for a long time, because all the social media companies banned him, literally banned him. He had his email gone, his Google gone, his Facebook gone. It all went down like dominoes.
Well, he's still on there.
She's arguing that Andrew Tate didn't get canceled. He got banned on every social media platform, but she's arguing that he didn't get canceled. Why? Because you let him on, Piers Morgan. I want him dead.
Very prolific on there. I can't move for clips.
Yeah, but they're not
TikTok.
generated by him now.
But that's been for quite some time.
But should he
He's still
be
got
punished that way?
But what is punished? What is punished? It's
Punish
just,
is
he's
where
obviously-
companies take a decision which, in my view, in this case, was perverse, because they still allow, for example, the Ayatollah of Iran.
What is punished? It wasn't punished. I punched you. I didn't hit you. I didn't punch you. I hit you. That just, okay. I'm going too far. I just lumped her with Amber Heard. I shouldn't have did that. That was too far. But what is punished? He's banned on all platforms. But what is punished?
To have a
Yes.
Twitter account.
Yes.
So there's no consistency here at all.
Well, but however, we love a bit of free market. I'm sure you do,
Yeah.
judging by that suit, which is lovely.
Thank
But you know, social media companies
You notice right there. She said we love a bit of. Hold on, wait. I'm jumping ahead. Hold on.
are private companies.
you
and
not
they can do
objectify-
whatever by that suit, which is lovely.
Thank
But you know, social media companies are private
Can
companies.
you
and
not
they can do
objectify
whatever
him,
they
please?
they can do
I'll take
whatever.
all the
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, so much just happened right there. So much just happened right there because she just she just complimented this man's suit. And Piers Morgan said, "Could you not objectify him?" That was actually a good one that he slipped in. I didn't hear that when I watched this the first time. Now, if he would have just passively, dismissively said something about her dress and how it looks nice on her, she would view that as some type of harassment. She would definitely view that as some type of harassment. Now, the other area where she's going here, and this is an interesting area, is where she's talking about, well, it's free market. Those are privately owned companies. It's a free market. But when it comes to women and hiring and all kind of other things with free market open to the public companies, with she would push for some type of affirmative action. Then, you know, she would push for some type of, you know, female incentive initiative hiring type of program. Then, so it's like they conveniently believe in the free market and they conveniently don't believe in the free market. Now, it is true that these are independent companies that can do whatever the hell they want. However, it's worth pointing out that if we're talking about a society and a culture that's moving in a certain way to where somebody who's giving off of an energy or words or a thought process that they view and deem as toxic masculinity, and then that goes on to get canceled, then that refutes her original argument of, if you're an alpha male, why should you really care what women think and what women do? Because what women think and what women do can literally start hurting your pocketbook if you're behaving in a way that the women view as toxic. So you see how it goes full circle that fast, where when the argument that she came in making, she's already refuted it with her own words.
the
They
objectification I like.
Of course you will, yeah. All right, Isabel.
But Ava, your point about, you know, if men were that alpha, then they wouldn't be that bothered by this, doesn't really help us when it comes to boys growing up. And that is one of my worries, that for teenage boys now, they are so terrified of the consequences of putting a foot out of line. It's hard enough being a young teenager, working out how things are, working out how to do dating and all of that, without the terror that if you touch in the wrong place at the wrong time, you may find that your whole life is destroyed.
I
and there
like
is
that
far
terror.
too much. Well,
I like that.
as a
I
mother
think
of
that
a
men should
teenage
be
boy, I
frightened.
don't like
Really?
that
That's
terror.
I
most
do.
malicious thing I've ever heard.
That is
I
awful.
think that
She's keep in mind the other woman was talking about young men being frightened to where if they, you know, touch at the wrong time or in the wrong place or this or that. Like she wasn't talking about she wasn't talking about rape. I mean, it's funny because they're going to say the word rape on here, but for some reason in this algorithm you can't say it, but they can say it. It's weird. But but she's not talking about that. She's not talking about full blown assault. She's talking about boys being unsure about what's okay and what's appropriate and what's not appropriate, and when to make a move and when to not make a move. And we all know that you can't just walk around pussyfooting and scared to actually make an aggressive move, an aggressive play on a woman. But now it's to the point where boys don't know what to do because anything can get misconstrued or perceived in the wrong way. And she wasn't talking about assault, but this chick still turned around, doubled down, and said, "Yes, I want them terrified." She want boys, young boys and young men and men, definitely men, well, she probably don't want men terrified. She probably want men actually going ahead and doing it so they can, you know, she can try to get in their pockets. But either way it goes, saying that she want them actually terrified, and the young guy next to her said that's one of the most horrible
ignores
things he
that
heard.
without the terror that if you touch in the wrong place at the wrong time, you may find that your whole life is destroyed.
I
and there
like
is
that
far
terror.
too much. Well,
I like that.
as a
I
mother
think
of
that
a
men should
teenage
be
boy, I
frightened.
don't like
Really?
that
That's the
terror.
most
I do.
malicious thing I've ever
That
heard.
is
I think that
awful.
men should be frightened
I think
to
you'd
touch
feel
women in a way
differently
that
if you
they're
were,
not
if you
comfortable
were.
with.
But we're talking about
Yeah, but we're not
teenage
talking
years,
about. We're
children.
not talking about.
We're
Yeah,
talking
but
about
it's an
young
interesting thing
children.
that you see. I would say that attitude actually is part of the problem too. That is that's to me toxic femininity.
It is.
That is saying you should all be terrified, you men, if you put
Of
one.
assaulting.
Well, I think we all understand what sexual
What is
assault
an
is.
assault?
She didn't set it up as assault, though. She didn't set it up as assaulting. She was setting it up from the perspective of a young man who's pursuing a woman, and he's, you know, unsure of, you know, he's unsure about what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. To, you know, it wasn't talking about assaulting. I think we understand assault. We understand forcible rape. We understand that. That's not how it was set up, but that's how she switched it to it, and that's the Jedi mind trick, sleight of hand trick thing that they do. And I remember when even Matt Damon, who's as liberal as they come, he said, "Okay, it's a difference between forcibly entering a woman, you know, versus patting a woman on the butt at the drinking fountain. Those, you know, both of those things are wrong. Well, one of them could be right, depending on if she like it or not. But both of those things are wrong, but they're not categorically the same thing. And they was trying to cancel him for saying that, because what a lot of women like her would try to do is try to argue that those are the same thing. If the woman does not like it, it's at her full discretion and disclosure to respond any way that she want, to react any way that she want, to fit her feelings in the moment dictate the level of criminal activity that took place. That is how they are essentially trying to make this thing to where it's not the action that was done, but their feelings in the moment dictates the level of criminal activity that just took place.
What Isabel's talking about is that young teenage clumsiness
really
in many
hard.
cases, which is now being recategorized as assault. Is that a problem?
It's not being recategorized as assault. It's always been assault. It's just we're finally talking about it.
I don't agree with that.
That's
But,
ridiculous.
Teenage boy fumbling with
touch
teenage
on the
girl
knee.
is not,
Not
is
even
not in
that.
most cases assault, is
Do
it?
you remember Aziz Ansari, right? Half the heels of Me Too, half the heels of Harvey Weinstein, rightly being dragged through the courts and should have got way worse than just prison time, in my opinion. Aziz Ansari had a consensual relationship with a woman. She felt a bit awkward and
Yeah.
afterwards rescinded consent, and he was lumped
Oh.
in and he had his
No, I'm
career
with you
and
on that
largely
one.
cancelled.
I'm with
So then
you.
why should men be afraid of that?
Because he didn't touch her without consent, did he?
No, but she
But
rescinded his consent and
how are
she
young
saw
boys
that then
supposed to
as the same
navigate
thing.
this, the whole
Yeah, I
thing?
agree.
I'm
Well,
thinking
you
of
need to
my
have-
teenage son. You know, he's 14, 15. What's he supposed to say? Would you mind?
Now, what's interesting is when he described what happened with Aziz Ansari, she says, "I'm with you on that one," but I guarantee none of them were speaking out against it, even if they were on platforms like this back then. Because if they were by and large overall against or with him on that one, then he would have never even been able to got canceled. It would have never even got published. It would have never got put out there. People would have heard the story and immediately said, "This is some bullshit." But the fact that people didn't hear that story and immediately say that this is some bullshit, and it affected his career and it affected his money, it decreases the probability that she's telling the truth when she's like, "Oh, I'm with you on that." Because what they would do then, and they would argue that yes, she went along with it, but clearly she didn't feel comfortable. Clearly she didn't feel comfortable in that moment. That's what they would proceed forward and do. She would say she didn't feel comfortable in that moment, so that's why she retracted it.
Did he?
No, but she
But
rescinded his
how
consent and
are
she
young
saw
boys
that then
supposed to
as the same
navigate
thing.
this, the whole
Yeah, I
thing?
agree.
I'm thinking
you
of
need to
my
have-
teenage son. You know, he's 14, 15. What's he supposed to say? Would you mind if I put
Isabel,
my
you are an
hand- I mean,
extremely
come
strong
on,
woman. I
come
know
on.
in your house you're teaching them the difference between assault and then
Of
coming on
course,
to
of
someone.
course.
I know you are.
But what we're talking about is be very
Now, again, the level of disingenuousness. she said, "You're a strong woman." It reminded me of that South Park character called Strong Woman. But you're a strong woman. I know you're teaching the difference between assault and let me just hold on, make sure I get it exact quote. Hold on.
If I put
Isabel,
my
you are an
hand- I mean,
extremely
come
strong
on,
woman. I
come
know
on.
in your house you're teaching them the difference between assault and then
Of
coming on
course,
to
of course.
someone. I know you are.
But what we're
Listen to how disingenuous that is. Teaching them the difference between assault and just coming on to someone. Even though a lot of this shit gets sparked up and going because somebody is coming on to someone. And they just don't like it. Like, let's not pretend like that's not how it happens. Let's not pretend like a lot of it hasn't happened. I remember Lawrence Krauss. He's like the white Neil deGrasse Tyson. Look him up. He's pretty cool. But he ended up in a situation where he, came on to a chick. She actually came up to his hotel room. He was using his sciencey professor, author, top selling book author, book signing status to get a young chick up to his room, which he did. He got her in there and she was describing the whole event. And she was talking about how he started forcibly kissing me, and then he laid me down on the bed, and then he put my panties down, and then this, and then that, and then I didn't feel uncomfortable. And then so he got kind of canceled within that whole community of people who read science journals and literature and stuff. And so it's like he got canceled within that. But the whole situation that she was describing was like a situation that from the first kiss all the way down to her panties getting pulled down, and nothing happened after that. But from there all the way down to the end, it was that was like a 2-minute process that she was participating in, and then she changed her mind and then went and said, made a Me Too situation out of it. So that's why the chick cannot be genuine and say that I'm sure you're teaching him the difference between sexual assault and coming on to someone, just simply coming on to someone. Meanwhile, when a woman charges somebody up with Me Too, when a guy was just coming on to her and she was with it, but then she changed her mind, she gets backing and support from the whole let's charge these men up with Me Too situations community. So it's just it's the level of disingenuousness. And again, like it says on the screen at the bottom, Me Too 5 years on. Me Too 5 years on. And I pointed out in the beginning that, it really started in 2006 with Tarana Burke, but 2017, that was pretty much when white women in Hollywood hijacked it. 5 years on, they are still saying a lot of the same things, but there has been some changes at there has been some noticeable changes at the workplace. But I'm not trying to dig too deep into that.
What we're talking about is it's been very interesting watching the Me Too movement and the Time's Up movement, how it's all developed, because a lot of very bad people, Harvey Weinstein and others, got their due comeuppance. We can all agree with that.
Yeah.
This is not even something to be debated. We're really talking about the grey line, right? Where is that grey line?
Yeah.
How do you navigate it? When you're an experienced adult and you've been around the block in many ways, you can navigate that much more intelligently and with emotional intelligence than you can if you're a teenage boy. And I think the point Isabel makes is a good one. I've had 3 sons in their 20s. I've always taught them to be respectful to women. I believe they are. But I do think it's really hard for a 16, 17-year-old boy now in this environment to know even how to start
They are all
having kind of some
terrified.
kind of physical relationship with a woman.
Those good boys are all terrified. I know that from talking to my son. He's just like, I'm just not going there. Is that healthy?
Yes, I
The other
think it is
point-
actually. I think it's better to not have a physical relationship than to have one that could ruin a woman's life.
But then how do they ever start?
Well, don't. If you're not 100%
Don't.
sure,
What? Are we going for-
don't.
What are you going to have? A
What?
bunch of Newton
Celebrate.
boys who
But
never
it's
had...
so obvious.
We actually
It's
do
sort
have
of
that.
like-
Gen Z is having far less sexual relationships
Yes,
than any
they
ever
are.
before.
It's true.
And
Young
hang
people
on,
have stopped having sex.
I agree with the first part of your sentence, actually. If you're not willing
I'm damn near like the woman on the left keep prefacing it by saying that she's talking about young boys, the good boys, the decent young men that are confused about this thing. She prefaced it by saying that. And then for the other chick, the chick in the black in the middle, for her to just say then they shouldn't. They shouldn't have any type of sexual interaction unless they're 100% sure of blah, 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 blah. If, for her to say that. Now, what that does, because like one thing, the unspoken words here was, if the the good boys, the good little boys, if they're hesitant and they're cautious about it and they don't know what's okay and what's not okay and blah 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 blah. Okay, clearly the more bad boy, boisterous, toxic masculinity ones, the ones that you're really trying to police, those ones not going to have no problem with it. And those are probably the ones that you want making those moves anyway. So it'll basically just create a world where the men the men who they don't want to fuck anyway just won't even try. It's basically that's what they're really doing. They're trying to police the ones who they have the least amount of interest in from even making an attempt. Don't even make an attempt because it's on the table that it may be harassment. I want you terrified to even hit on me just a little bit. But those that I do want to get with, oh yeah, by all means, floodgates open. It's like they don't even realize that they're advocating for some own different variation of some type of 80-20 rule, which I question whether or not that's legit or not. But when you cross-referencing with the fella on the right said, something that we talk about all the time on here, how it's like these dudes, young dudes, they not even trying. 18 to 30, like a third of them reported no sex in the last year. Like the incel rate is very high. Not talking about the ideology, just talking about just not getting no ass. The rate is very high. The rate is very high. And she said, I want it higher. I need them terrified. I need them terrified. It's like, what do you gain out of them being terrified? What do you gain out of them being terrified? That's just crazy. That's just crazy. And check the private chat. Look at that private chat. All right, let's roll it. Let's roll it some more.
Willing to have a sexual relationship with clearly defined lines don't have one. And so I actually told my mates at university, don't sleep around with girls. 1, girls don't bring a guy home that you don't know what he's capable of. 2, guys, don't bring a girl home if you think that possibly she could have a false accusation against you.
Can I make another point here?
Which I find, I mean, look, that sentence to me, when I was your age, right? How old are you?
23.
23. When I was your age, the idea you would even have that sort of thought process.
Yeah, I
would
wouldn't
be
have those sort of mates that would ever cross the line. So I wouldn't have to have that conversation with any of my friends.
Don't throw my mates in with a bunch of violent people.
And is there a certain
This chick is the worst. Listen to what he actually said versus how she took it. Well, no, he said that I tell women to don't go home with a guy that you don't know what he's capable of. And I tell my mates, don't go home with a guy. I mean, don't go home with a girl if you think you can't trust her or something along those lines. She spun that around to say, well, why are your mates potentially going to be raping people to begin with? It's like, that's how she spun that around. It's like, it's just so clear and just written all over their face when they talk about this stuff that basically I want y'all by the balls. And it's like they're not doing that. I mean, yes, there's an aspect of I want to have control in the sexual sense, but a lot of it comes from, a lot of that is just leverage when they're at work, when they're at the job, when they're trying to get a raise, when they're trying to navigate, when they're trying to move up. When it's like they want men in a constant tiptoe stance to the point to where they're scared to do this, they're scared to do that, but everything can happen on the woman's consent. But once I decide that something is not going right, I have leverage and power. It's a strategy. I take it as a career strategy to try to move up. That's why it went from, in 2006 when Toronto Burke started it went from talking about young girls who were molested to women in corporate America in Hollywood. At that point, it turned into something, I'm trying to get money up out of these folks. I'm trying to get money up out of them. That's literally what it turned into. Shout out to shout out to. Why are those two separate? Oh wait, no. Oh damn, that one was old. The Perfect Storm in the building says Zaya Wade is going. Man, cut it out. Cut it out. I was talking about Black Panther earlier in the show. I must have missed that super chat, but he said Zaya Wade is going to play T'Challa's son in the next movie. Man, cut it out. Oh, they could do that. Now that I think about it, I thought you were saying he's going to play T'Challa, but now that T'Challa got a son, yeah, T'Challa's son could grow up gay or trans. All of that is on the table. They just created a character out of nothing, out of nowhere. So they got full creative control. They really do. They got full creative control to do what they want to do with this thing. So let's not get that twisted. So yes. That is on the table. I'll concede that point. That is on the table. 186 people in here, and it looks like, according to RM, that is 107 people on the likes. 107 people on the likes. Let's get those likes up a little bit more. Shout out to Freeman's Journal in the building. Says, what's women have to be treated like the competition and in the workplace. Yeah, but they got a secret weapon in between their legs. And the social criticism, social criticism of men, and social acceptance of whatever women do and however they do it, to where, yeah, they got an outright advantage. But in the sexual marketplace, Western women are all potential threats. Yeah, particularly a woman you work with. You know, I'm willing to say that it's not as much of a threat if you just out and about and you just holler at a chick. You know, what's she gonna do? She gonna get mad, you're gonna walk away, and then that's that. You never see her again. But at work, yeah, that's when it can be a serious issue.
Certain purity here I'm detecting in a certain type of feminist who thinks that they're all unimpeachable and that this is all one-way traffic, and that only men can be toxic.
No,
Because I've got to enlighten you. I've met quite a few women in my life who are pretty toxic themselves, and I don't see the debate being framed around that at all.
No, but the point is that we're still in a situation where only 5% of rape cases actually even go to trial,
Which is ridiculous.
But that's the extreme end of it,
Yeah.
isn't
The
it? You're
idea-
talking
but
about
I'm
rape
talking
here.
about-
But Ava, we can all agree
assault.
that's wrong. We can all agree that's wrong.
But okay, so even on the extreme end of it, rape doesn't even go to trial. If you're assaulted, and that is
Now, that's something that I do got to look into. If only 5% of them go to trial, I wonder why. I wonder what's going on there. Are they being thrown out? Because come on, I mean, the degree in which this society protects women, I tend to believe that women aren't showing up tattered and beat up, reporting a rape, and then it's just getting thrown out. So I do want to know what's going on there. I really do want to know what's going on there. It got something to do with the kit that they do. You know, the hearsay, the he say, she said element of it. Then you get into a territory of believe all women. They do gotta, but if those are being just thrown out just because people aren't believing women, then she may have an argument. But I normally, when I hear some stats like that, and then normally when I go do some research, I normally find out that it's some bullshit that they smuggled under the table. But I will look into that. Somebody said plea deals. Somebody said that's a feminist talking points. So he says, or some could just be lying. It's a number of things going on there, but I will look into that for you guys. I will look into that one for you guys.
It's life-changing.
Yeah.
What happened to Rose McGowan
Yeah.
with Harvey
I
Weinstein
know Rose well.
was
Yeah, but these are
life-changing,
extreme
and
things.
she didn't get her comeuppance.
Yeah, but
She
Ava, we'd
lost
all
her
agree about
career.
that. Well,
Yeah.
I think what has sent a shudder through all of our spines from your mouth today is the line that all young men should be terrified of any physical
assaulting
contact. Well, no, you didn't say it
You
like
didn't
that.
say that.
You said basically of starting any physical contact with a
Unless
woman.
you're sure.
Well,
Unless
how
you're
does a
so
16,
sure.
17
How can
year
you
old
be
boy
sure when
know?
she can rescind consent on something completely nebulous?
Okay, can I ask you this? If
Yes.
you were going to take someone to bed and you weren't 100% sure that they wanted to go
Tom Brady is single now. Tom Brady should only make any type of physical contact and any type of attempt to pursue her only if he is 100% sure. No, I'm pretty much sure she want Tom Brady to walk up there, just grab her and just toss her over his shoulders and then take her and take her into the back. Like, come on, like cut it out.
To go to bed with you,
Yes.
would you go with
No,
them?
I would not do that.
Then
But the
that's what
point
I'm
was,
talking
Aziz
about.
Ansari was sure.
That's why I say they're policing. They're just policing men that they don't want to not even shoot their shot.
Bed with you,
Yes.
would you go with
No,
them?
I would not do that.
Then
But the
that's what
point
I'm
was,
talking
Aziz
about.
Ansari was sure, for example, and then later she went and published a long piece
Right.
about how she regretted it and lumped him in with Harvey Weinstein.
I mean,
Is that okay?
Ava,
No.
we're-
Ava, do you
we're
feel
not-
Thank you.
any of it, Ava's gone too far? Do you think the pendulum has gone too far at all?
No, I don't think it's gone far enough, actually.
Really?
I don't think we've brought anything into schools. To your point, we haven't brought any teaching into school about what is assault, what isn't. If you're worried about like 16-year-old boys not understanding what it is, bring in sexual health lessons.
Hang on.
Teach it.
Well,
The
they have
idea,
all of
sorry,
that.
the idea that you can teach rapists not to rape is insane because they already know
What do you mean?
that it's illegal. Okay, right. You're saying if boys wouldn't know what's assault and what isn't,
Yeah.
right? Okay. The idea that rather than
You can't teach boys on what's assault and what's not assault if you're defining assault as making any type of touching physical contact that the woman does not like. It's impossible to teach what's assault and what's not assault. It's impossible. You can teach them that it's wrong. It's wrong to forcibly enter a woman without consent. You can definitely explain that simple truth that we all know. But when they define the assault as making a physical gesture or contact in a sexual or romantic way, like when I'm out dealing with, hanging with, or pursuing a woman, when we get to that point to where I can put my hand on her thigh, I can't ask permission. I just have to do it and pick up the vibe. And we just, if I'm feeling it, she feeling it, we feeling it, we going with it. Okay. That's how it works. That's how it works. When she's saying don't do it unless you're absolutely 100% sure, but whether or not is absolutely 100% sure is going to be based on 100% on her feelings, which means I've committed assault based off how she felt in the moment. But if she didn't fit, that's they're trying to legislate or make it a crime or not a crime, depending on how the woman felt after the thing happened. Not the thing that happened, but how they felt after it happened. That's what they're trying to make a crime or not a crime.
taking the power out of someone who can make a false accusation is what they're actually, most of them are concerned about. Specifically, taking the
And he's spitting right there.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. The idea that rather than taking the power out of someone who can make a false accusation is what they're actually, most of them are concerned about. Specifically, my friends, for example, who would never dream of doing something like that. But then what the feminists fail to understand is you can educate
The
evils.
feminists.
Did you not identify yourself as a feminist study?
No, I didn't actually.
Oh, okay,
Piers
sorry.
told me
Piers
that.
You're not a
did, so then
feminist?
that's
But Piers labelled me.
Actually, I
as
called you a
that.
Okay.
top.
She's not a feminist like Deanie is not a Democrat. If you was watching a few shows ago, you get the reference. If you know, you know. Shout out to Deanie.
feminist.
okay. Then if that's my
I'll take
presupposition,
that.
that's
Yeah, of
wrong.
course.
Fair enough. But you cannot, if a rapist is willing to violate the law so violently, you cannot teach him out of that. All you can have is very harsh punishments to deter
No, because
that.
you're talking about the grey line, and the grey line is at parties of not understanding that when a woman is so inebriated that she can't stand up, boys need to understand that is
Well,
no.
that's a different
Yeah.
line.
Now you're
That's a completely
bringing in
different line.
something else, Ava. I would like
Yeah.
to know whether you accept
Yeah, nobody was talking about drunk.
that women, and particularly teenage girls and young women, sometimes give out pretty mixed signals. They give out mixed messages. They're not even sure what they want at any given time.
I think we're victim blaming.
I don't think
I think
that's
we're- I
victim.
think
blaming.
we're-
Come off
So
it,
do
Ava.
you,
we
do you
I think we are
accept?
straying into
do
a
Come
you-
off
point.
it. Every
do you-
sinew of your body knows what she just said.
Do you
has a
accept
merit
women
to it.
can sometimes
It's a
give
woman
off
saying it
mixed
too. Come on.
messages? Come on, they
Look,
can.
I mean, sure, but I'm
That's a
not.
non.
I've said it once. I've said it again. I've had women in a club look at me from across the room and practically, what's the term? I fuck. I've been I fucked from the other side of the room. And then when I walked over there to talk to her, she reacted like I snuck up on her in the alley. So yeah. Mixed messages and mixed signals happen. They do. So it's like she She can't deny that. But the only reason that we're in this goofy area is because assault was being defined, as the conversation was predicated on, it was being defined as the initial attempt and pursuit. That's what it was essentially being defined as. In that initial attempt and pursuit, if the guy get a little aggressive, a little touchy and make an aggressive move in the at some point in the early dating phase, and she's not there, she's not ready yet, then that's where the assault comes in. And she keeps moving the goalpost to which you don't know the difference between rape and touching, but she's the one who set the goalposts all lopsided up there to begin with.
But I'm
Denial.
sure,
Yeah.
but I'm talking about assault.
So how are
here.
you
No, but
supposed
I
to?
don't think any of us disagree about assault. We're talking about the far greyer line of young teenage fumblings.
Exactly.
And if they've all stopped having sex, it's because they are actually terrified. And I think it's a great shame if they're terrified into actually having no physical interaction with opposite
Exactly
sex.
that. And then
I
the
How do
other
we get
point,
past
can I
that?
make one other point, which is this whole thing of dredging up allegations that are 10 or 20 years old, I think is absolutely awful.
Why?
Because it's a he said, she
Oh,
said. It's
Isabel,
impossible to prove.
why?
And there are people whose careers are and their lives are
it's
completely
not really-
ruined by allegations that are brought a decade or more after the event. Now, obviously, if the person was a minor at the time of the incident, or the alleged incident,
I
then
can't believe you're
fine.
saying this,
There
that we
shouldn't be
shouldn't
a
bring
s-
up historic assault claims.
I
That's
don't think
absolutely crazy.
you should be bringing.
Women who
I
would have been
don't-
too afraid to confront it at the time because they
Why?
were too young or too
Right,
powerless
I
to
said
bring it up
about-
in
I
the
said
first
about
You
place.
see,
Youth-
I would actually side slightly with Ava here in the sense I don't have a problem with historic crimes. For example, Harvey Weinstein, they're all
There's got to be a
historic.
cut-off
Yeah, but,
point. that
yeah, but-
hasn't
well,
there?
has there
Should
actually?
be.
For someone
I
like
think there
Harvey,
has, because it
for someone like
depends on
Harvey
the
Weinstein,
evidence.
should there be a cut-off point, or should the victims who were all bullied and scared
I think it
to come
depends
forward,
what the,
right?
I think it depends on the severity of the allegation. Obviously, if it's something,
Right.
it's a rape case or something. But if it is a, he put his
All right, the
hands on my knee.
You're talking about the
you know,
journalist movement.
I'm
The
basically
journalists that bravely came forward and told about how cabinet ministers had touched them inappropriately
them.
on the
Yeah.
knee, which was
I'm
horrendous.
not
Yes.
bothered about touching on a knee. I mean, 20 years later?
Yes,
that
but
should, someone should be dragged
exposed
through the courts
entire
for that.
sexual harassment culture that is in Westminster and is still really pervasive at the moment.
Well, the good thing is we've all reached complete agreement after 5 years of the Me Too movement. But it's interesting, isn't it? So we've got lots of different views here. It is complicated, I think, and I would argue, but maybe a man shouldn't argue this at all. But I would argue the pendulum may have swung a little too far. You don't think it swung far enough. You
Mhm.
probably.
I don't know why he said a man shouldn't argue it at all. A man should definitely be involved deeply in this argument. Men being out of the argument is part of the reason why the pendulum swung as far as it did, because men were scared to say anything about it at all. That's pretty much it, that right there. Anybody want to come up and get a piece of this conversation? We got a number of things on the table here. Got a number of things on the table here that we can discuss. One thing that I do want to discuss, I was going to make this the main topic, but I woke up to this. Well, I heard that he was going to announce last night, and I was like, yeah, I know he not. And then I woke up and I saw that, oh, that looked cool, but move that down. That looked cool how it's like the blue strip and then the black caption over there. That looked pretty cool. Okay. Here's the deal. We can come up and talk about numbers, and we can talk about Donald Trump trying to make America great again. You can come up and talk about this Me Too 5 years in thing. Or because they took down my Wakanda Forever video, we can come up, we can talk about that. Those are three topics on the table. Any one of them will do. But let me know. Let me know. Come on up and have your say on either one of these topics. Shout out to Logan JJ. Says all of us men at least one time have a woman giving so much mixed signals that nothing happened, only to find out the next day she wanted to mash. Yeah, the mixed signals are, that's almost an unavoidable thing. I mean, I won't say unavoidable. They need to quit doing it, but they be all over the place. They be all over the goddamn place. It's like it's no There's no up or down, left or right with that. With some of them, there's no up or down, left or right. And forgive me, I'm checking on something real quick. It's show related. Don't worry. I'm not just on my phone while talking to y'all. I'm actually looking at something necessary. Something necessary to the show. But all right, cool. All right. But let me know what you. Some people are just physically awkward. That's funny. Let me know what y'all think in the chat room on this first topic. Let me know what y'all think in the chat room on this first topic that I covered today. Do y'all think that Donald Trump is going to be able to make America great again? Again. I don't know why that's not his slogan. I don't know why I shouldn't have to be the one to come up with that one for him. But up there it says "Make America Great Again." Up there behind him, it should be "Make America Great Again." Again, he really should call it that. That's the right amount of the right amount of humor that I like. Make America Great Again. Again. I don't know. I don't think. There it is right there. He says he didn't do it the first time. Come on up and speak on that. Come on up and speak on that. And I'm interested in your take on that one. Interested in your take on that one. Interested in your take on Wakanda Forever. And interested in your take on the whole Me Tooing aspect of this thing. But in the meantime, while I wait for someone to come up, remember, if you're in the Detroit area, you can come on out and hang out at Barcade November 21st. That's coming up this upcoming Monday, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. No cover charge or fees. More info here at Evite. At Evite, make sure you click on that. Me and a couple of content creators getting together, gathering up with some subscribers, networking, just having some drinks, shooting the shit, watching a little bit of Monday Night Football. So feel free to come on through. Glad to have you there. This is, we already got together and did it, got together, did it a couple of times already. He says, "Make America great one more time." Make America great one more time. Another one. That's what he own right now. That's what he's on right now. Another one. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting with Donald Trump running again. I'm not completely convinced. I'm not completely convinced that he's going to take it. I'm convinced that he will pull that off. Not convinced at all. Looking at a number of things here. I'm sitting here. Y'all got me. Nobody came up, so I'm mining for more content right now. I'm mining for more content right now because I got a few things that I could get into that are semi-related to what we were already on. I was going to pull up an article about Marvel having, openly gay characters in the MCU. I was going to pull up an article on that. I'm still looking. So I'll probably pull that up, but we already know the deal. Already know the dealio with that. But give me a second. Or I will end this bad boy early. If ain't nothing going down and ain't nobody coming up. Yep, I think I may have to. I think I may just take this as an opportunity to end it early if nobody comes up, because I talked to y'all for an hour and a half. That's all I got. I run out of spit after an hour and a half, and I bring y'all up. Don't anybody coming up? Then I can wrap this bad boy on up. I can wrap this bad boy on up because I can't even find the rest of the content that I planned on doing. But Deadly Raver in the building with the super chat says, I want to make America great again. Get rid of the turtle. Ditch Mitch the Rhino bitch. 2024. Ditch Mitch the Rhino bitch 2024. I barely know what you're talking about, but I think I know what you're talking about. Thor Love and Thunder says was just all gay. It wasn't all gay. Thor Woman was a woman and he was a man. But Valkyrie, her character was gay. And who else was gay? The little rock creature was gay. Dads was gay. It was something else gay in there. I can't think of what else was gay. The gayest part, not the gayest part, but the part of it that was most problematic with Thor Love and Thunder was just the simple fact of his woman being able to wield the hammer. That was the worst part. That was just the biggest problem. That was the biggest problem I had with that. She shouldn't have been able to wield it. No way, no how. That just shouldn't have been the case. You know, Thor had to be a guy. Captain America had to be Captain America in order to wield it. Like, you got to be a very noble dude in order to wield that. The only other person who could possibly wield that in the MCU is probably T'Challa. Maybe. Well, we know T'Challa can't wield it now because they killed T'Challa. Like I said before, Chadwick Boseman died, but they killed T'Challa. It's a big difference. For her to be able to wield it just off the strength that she used to have sex with Thor, like that made absolutely positively no sense. It had no bearings on anything, no logical justification, no nothing at all. But we're gonna wrap this bad boy on up. And nobody is coming up. I do not feel like rambling today. I'll probably work on some shorts and do some pre-recorded stuff. So be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for things. So I do got 2 uploads coming up. This one will be on members and Patreon. And I got the Wakanda Forever show. Wakanda Forever. I got to work on that. I do got that show. That'll be on the Patreon. And I can't put that on members because YouTube will take it down from members. But this one will be on members and Patreon. But like that said, and stay in the back. Stay in the back because I think, well, hold on. I'm talking to. Okay, cool. All right. I'm reading that right now. Okay. All right, cool, perfect. But all right, y'all. With that said, we are out of here. Peace. We gone.